Get settled in, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody? Aloha. Welcome to PTC'19. My name is Chris Stott from Mansat, and I have the great pleasure and honor today of interviewing Mr. James Yenbramron, founder and CEO of NewSpace, one of the newest companies into the satellite and communications arena in Asia. James, you've got a background in mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, and you came into the satellite world from the cellular world. So tell us about NewSpace. You're a new entrant. What's happening with your company?
Right. So NewSpace, we started a company with we call it the everyone vision, meaning that it's keep evolving. The stuff that we start to do, so we come up with something really like we want to go to put 100 people, first 100 to the moon, that kind of vision. And we see like the area where how we got to satellite, because we see the satellites being the only industry that generate the real income. So that's how we got into it and start from there.
Oh, very cool. And then with your background, you're one of the fastest rising entrepreneurs in Asia. And you've had experience in the United States, you've had experience in Asia. What are the challenges you find in telecoms in Asia, and what are the challenges you find as an entrepreneur in this area?
The challenges, like the way we work, starting out, NewSpace, actually we focus on the people first, like the people with motivation, with the vision and ability to work close to each other. Then the second is the project focus. I mean, we call it PPP, the kind of people project, and then profit is like kind of like the thing that we look into in the future when the curve, obviously will scale, when a lot of other industries in the space will take off, because I'm pretty sure that people here, really like experts and familiar in the satellites, but there's a lot happening in the space arena. And so that's where NewSpace, we focus. The business will be a satellite to begin with, and anything related to IoT products that we are developing. But the future is space. We viewing that there's going to be a lot of more people in space, and I think that's an interconnection there between the satellite and space. So I think the reason why a lot of us, enter the satellite business, because we probably like see Neil Armstrong, right? And so that's like the passion. So I think today maybe like open up more the perspective toward like space. We talk a bit about satellite and also like something like that coming up in the future.
Yeah, thank you. And we are having the 50th anniversary this year of the Apollo moon landings. And people think about satellite as an end game. And they forget there's a larger space industry. And I think today you made some announcements back home, and you debuted a spacesuit. So there's very few communications companies that also reach out beyond that. And what is your thinking there, your vision there, and what is it you're trying to achieve with that?
So yeah, today we announced the IoT tracking sensor and autonomous sensor. That we building a platform where we can actually hook in the accurate like GPS, camera, all kinds of stuff that will be functional on Earth and also in space. If you do something in space, you're actually pushing the limits, and then we actually announced that today, and it's also interrelated to like the spacesuits that we announced. That was back in, I remember, in like September timeframe, and it's also related to the after. We participating in the microgravity tests with Blue Origin on Mission 9, where we load the sensors, and so we got them back, and we learn about it, and then we shaping up for the coming up experiments. So we have 2 coming up this year, and hopefully we can do 3. And now since like we learn and hopefully it's going to be exciting. And I think they are launching a new Shepherd like today or tomorrow too, so that makes it like even more exciting.
Yeah, so the space industry is fundamentally changing based on this foundation of satellite. And NewSpace is looking to push into that.
Yep.
And then, as an entrepreneur, how do you see things differently in space than some of the traditional companies, you think?
Yeah, we see we see space. So on this conference, and people heard about the constellations and latency. We look at it like being a one problem that we as a human need to solve, right? But there's also other like problems that we can solve, and we can actually build the business out of it. We know that for example, National Space Station. NASA will operate until 2025, so that's opened up the room for any operators, commercial, private companies that is going to do that. So we're seeing like the next 10 years is going to be the years for private space industries, and to give sort of like the excitement to satellites, because I mean the satellite operators already have some business, but unmanned, up and running up in space. So we're hoping that all the satellite operators have like the space unit, and then start working on something like really long term. I'm sure they can cut out some type of like profits or whatever, like to do something like really long term.
Especially in this 50th anniversary of the lunar landings, who knows what might pop up next?
Yep.
And do you find that your employees they resonate with this? It's a way to attract talent, is to just think outside the box, offer them something more.
Yes, we pretty stand out in terms of like the talents. In NewSpace, we pretty like I think attractive to the new generations. Even though like our team is like mainly young, but we mix our skill sets. We also have the experienced people that learning from the history, and how we can actually project it out to the future, and how we can actually now we make, let's say we're making money from the satellite, and what is going to be next. It's like the timing, and so.
And then with your experience in America, you've seen there's like an ecosystem for entrepreneurial activity, where people can find funding and do work and everything else. What is the challenges, differences, similarities that you find in Asia to being an entrepreneur there?
Oh yes, like the thinking was probably like 3 years behind. So like in Asia, they even call us like the first like space company. There's probably like some other company that came before us, because we employ like some of those people. So in Asia, like perspective that they think, they still think, I think shorter term than the US. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think I talked to you privately that this year I'll be spending more time in the US and to develop the space business, because I do see like to have the space really take off, it has to be supported by government, and I see space agencies. So overall, entire world is spending about 50 billion this year, and NASA is spending 21 billion. So that's about like 40% of the entire world. And so that's why we're here, and I'm sure like next month, you have the Space Force legislative budget coming out, the proposals coming out. So that's going to be a lot more coming for space.
So you see, like it's almost, we're in the second decade now of the 21st century, coming to the end of the second decade of the 21st century. And so you see space as a good future opportunity for Thailand, for Asia, and more. What do you think?
Right. Yeah, space will really take off when human can actually travel to space in a cost-effective way. And so I saw that's coming, and a lot of success from number of aerospace companies in US and Europe, and I think they're gearing up for that. So it's like when, let's say like here, when John F. Kennedy said like we're going to the moon, and when Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, that's kind of like something that we got to have that kind of exploration spirit in us. Right.
And then how do you see the impact of new technologies in telecommunications, satellite, and what you're working on too at NewSpace? The exponential technology, the Moore's law impact.
Yeah, I think it's all boils down to the raw materials and the materials, because materials always define the limit of like how far you can scale. And I think in terms of like technologies that we have, when you see for example like players like a lot of like SpaceX, for example, they're using commercial off-the-shelf software. I mean, you can actually buy it like anywhere, and then it's actually, you could actually make something interesting out of it for aftermarket. I mean, we really like buying something aftermarket, like that. It's like last week when I mentioned to you yesterday about, we're trying to get the AI accelerator, and then I couldn't find it. We approaching all these names like Huawei, Qualcomm, Nvidia to get it, but then they want it at bulk. Like you have to buy a lot, and so we said, okay, we go on eBay or Alibaba and whatever. We get it in, and then we want to bring it in and then come and test it.
Excellent. I mean,
So it's actually, like if that's the market after market, even black market, we have to, I'm not going to go there.
No, and that's the nice thing. Coming into the space age now, I mean, you have your pick of the whole world to go work with. And how do you make a choice like that? How do you choose which technologies to go for as a CEO? What sort of guides your vision that way?
Right. I think the technology, we look into the technology that we can build the foundation out of, and then we can actually scale. And so any technologies that we will be looking at the technologies that are sort of, it's going to be the market 3 to 5 years from now. And so that's a good opportunity for investing, a lot of our efforts into. Efforts meaning that, the money side from the investors and also efforts from the team. So that the foundation technology will be the material side that we're interested for ships and yeah. So that's it's a hardware and software. Anything that can build a good foundation, then we will be going after it. And this year we previously, since we were found really short period of time, this is the 18 month that we've been found. We employ about a little over 30 people. And so this year is the year that we've been focusing on the business side, but now we turning our attention into technology.
Excuse me. You're okay.
Hope
they missed.
Hope everybody's okay. Yeah.
Well, no, I was going to ask you, because founding a company is not something that everybody does. It's not easy to do. And it's a choice that you make in life. And what made you were at Northrop Grumman, and what was the moment where you said, no, I'm going to form my own company. I'm going to go off and create something new. I'm going to provide jobs to other people. I've got my vision. So what was that moment for you, and what drove you to drive and create NewSpace?
I feel I kind of have that kind of the voice, I always wanted to start business. I did sales some video games since I was young, that kind of, but not building one, but selling it, and some other services that I tried back in the days. So I thought about aerospace is really unique, comparing to in other industry. So you need to gain the knowledge, you need to connect to the right people in order to build it up fast. So I thought about staying at Northrop for maybe 3 years time before launching a company, but ended up being 6 or 7 years because the project was ongoing, and I for me it's all about 0 and 1, right? If you leave behind in the middle of the project, that's nothing. So I thought about completing it. So it took 2 or 3 more years to complete it. So.
And then if someone's looking to become a customer of NewSpace or partner with you, if they have new technologies, I mean, are you looking for partners? Are you looking for people to work with?
Yeah, we're looking for partners and people with the same vision, and a company that we have partners that are really supportive of NewSpace. I mean, even though a year ago we were starting up with I started out with team of 6. And then, from 6, beginning of last year, I came back to, the end of the year with 30, probably maybe 50 around later this year. And we looking at acquisition also, so we might have some more engineers joining. So yeah, for yes, starting up, it's all about attracting the right people and the partner. We don't look at the company, we look at the people we are working with. And if they have that kind of, the strong sense that, we're going to have the private company putting a human back to the moon again, then we together.
And as a startup, you're working with some pretty established players too in the satellite world. Do you want to maybe mention that for the audience, some of the partners you're working with?
Oh, yes. I was last year and previous year. So we worked with Blue Origin on the launch. and also separately on the collaboration, they're kind enough to, have us to incremental test our sensors and also all kinds of payload that will manifest to become the real spacesuits. But before spacesuit, we will launch the smart apparel this year. So we have the smart jacket coming out. So we patenting the technology. So that's coming out. So we were working with SES and Hughes on launching the rural area project, and also other partners that we coming up on the chips manufacturers and if you go to our wiki, I'm sure it's all there.
No, it's great to see a startup company working with people like Hughes and SES, but then also going right down into the customer level and delivering service. And what do you see for the future of Asia in telecoms and service, and the future for NewSpace?
Right. For telecom, like Asia, in our upbringing, Asians always think about next generations. But then when we grow up and then we join corporate, we start to think differently. But I think having that thinking about the next generation, because I'm 35 this year. I thought my brain, if we don't have any enhancement of our brain, it's probably going to peak for the next 15 years. It's going to be something else. Someone else is going to really leading. And so I thought to do like something really like drastically different for the next 15 years, and maybe in the future, I could be some type of like an enabler of someone else to do it. So that's why we came out with like the first 10 years vision. Maybe we could do 100 years, I actually don't know. But right now we stick on to 10 years, and then we're on to the second year.
Well, I mean, satellite is one of those unique industries where we have a global audience and a global marketplace. And space is maybe even bigger than that in giving what's happening and what's changing in the space industry at the moment. Any thoughts? Because we're running out of a bit of a time, and I have one last question before we go, but any thoughts about that future as well?
For the audience? Space future?
Yeah, for space.
Yeah, I think on the real space business, other than the satellite, telecom satellite, if humans can actually be on this like low Earth, space stations, more stations as a hub, and I think you start seeing more like it makes more sense on launching a business, or actually on the returns or economic, and there's a lot of startups already doing that. I think it's a matter of like the timing, when to scale, how they select the right investors, the right timing, and that kind of thing. But what will help the space ecosystem the most will be the government spending. That's for sure.
I mean, this year we've got suborbital happening with Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin, and we've got orbital commercial happening with Boeing and SpaceX. And it's a fundamental shifting of gears and a creation of a whole new industry. And it's really great to see NewSpace taking that forward look into that.
Right.
And combining the delicacy of satellite and the market push of cellular and wireless into that. Right. And it's fascinating. I mean, you're to be commended. It's a bold step, but it's a visionary step. And speaking of vision, before we go, because I'm coughing the clock, this last year we saw a lot of things happening in Thailand. And you're usually very modest about this stuff, and I want to just thank you publicly. And maybe you could talk a little bit about ladies and gentlemen, James was very involved in the rescue of the Thai children trapped in that cave. And it was very commendable. So thank you.
Yes. It was fun.
And would you like to say a few words about what that was like? Challenges and stresses?
Oh, it's just the...
Sorry to put you on the spot, but you did a great job.
Oh yeah, it's... well, I didn't expect it. I was in China for another conference and came back home, and I thought, oh, okay, what's all this? And then I thought, oh, if we participate from day one, it would have been like different. And so another aerospace guy reached out and you want to do this and go up so I thought it's going to be really confusing. So I start using the previous backgrounds in the supporting the Department of Defense and Air Force on the critical mission. So I kind of use that knowledge. So ended up just like headed there in order to, because at first engineers, they don't believe that we're going to be like participating. So I decided to fly with my CTO Sam. So because even our team, they don't believe that we're going to be doing something. right? And so I said, okay, pack our bag and go to Chiang Rai, which is on the northern border of Thailand, where the cave was. So we landed there too, and then our engineers, well, we actually sent one engineer first. So there was like 5 of us, and also aerospace company in here too, SpaceX, Boeing, and all that. And so but it boils down to the three things that we're trying to do. Pretty sure that the submarine is being built in California. But the second thing was like we're trying to scan the cave because they only have the 2D X and Y coordinates. So we're trying to map the whole cave with the latest technology. And the third one was actually the position to drill. So we were like doing that. And happened that like Google also reached out. So we asked them to trend the weather forecast data, make it finer, so we could actually do a little better. So it was exciting and involved a lot of planning and all the logistics and it's also all this media side that I was trying to actually stay away from. So, but it's really good experience.
Thank you. And maybe we should have had the whole interview about that because it was fascinating.
And I was actually in the cave, so it's nice to walk into the cave, like at night.
Well, thank you for being proactive and helping there and making a real difference. And thank you also for bringing the entrepreneurial spirit to satellite and wireless and space in Asia. And ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll mark this spot and James for the future and NewSpace. And thank you very much, James, for everything.
Thank you.